Nearly 70% of travelers over 65 say airports stress them out more than flying itself, according to AARP and the IATA. Makes sense. At least on the plane, you get to sit down. Have you ever thought, why is the airport harder than the trip? Or worse, had your bag snatched at the gate just when you thought you'd made it? I watched it happen in Dallas. A woman in her 70s finally reached the jet bridge, wiped the sweat from her forehead, and the agent tagged her bag. Her face said it all. Relief crushed by frustration. The problem isn't age, it's the system. The fix? Hacks that flip the script and make your next flight actually feel manageable. Especially, don't miss hack number 6 in this video. It will turn something already in your bag into a sleep tool so effective, you might wake up wondering if you accidentally flew first class. What if you could slide into business class for the price of dinner for 2? Sounds impossible until you hear about the couple who upgraded for just $150. Seats that normally cost $2,000, and there they were, clinking champagne glasses like they'd robbed the airline. Here's a little-known move. Senior fares still exist, but airlines won't flash a banner about it. United and American quietly cut fares for passengers over 60, but you have to ask. One woman told me her parents saved $120 just by calling instead of clicking. That one phone call? Pure gold. And ready for the sneakiest trick? Upgrade bidding. After you've booked economy, some airlines send you an email or a pop-up in their app. Want to try for business class? That's your chance. You set your own price, sometimes as low as $50, sometimes closer to $200. If your bid wins, you'll be stretching out while everyone else fights for elbow room. These chances don't show up every flight, but when they do, the payoff is unforgettable. It's that moment you sink into a wide seat, lift a glass, and realize you just hacked your way into luxury. That 3 a.m. alarm for a 6 a.m. flight? It's brutal. You're half asleep, stumbling through dark highways, praying a red light or traffic jam doesn't sink your trip before it starts. Want to know a hack that saves your sanity before an early flight? Stay at an airport hotel the night before. For seniors, it's not just about comfort, it's about confidence. Waking up at the Hyatt Regency JFK or Hilton DFW means your gate is minutes away. You're not racing through traffic like you're in a bad movie. You're sipping coffee in the lobby, calm and collected. And you don't always have to pay top dollar for that peace of mind. The budget-friendly gems are often just one shuttle stop away. Check sites like Booking.com or call the property directly. Last-minute rates can be surprisingly low, and many include the shuttle for free. Some airlines even make mornings smoother with early bag drop. Delta and United often let you check luggage 4 to 6 hours ahead at major airports. Imagine starting your day with only a small carry-on, while everyone else is juggling suitcases and panic yawns. One couple in their 70s posted that early flights used to feel like punishment. After trying the Hyatt JFK, they said the relief was instant, waking at sunrise, having breakfast together, and strolling to their gate with zero hassle. They joked it felt like cheating the system. So ditch the 3 a.m. misery, spend the night nearby, save your strength, and step onto the plane knowing you've outsmarted the chaos. Want the secret to picking the perfect seat every time? The spot you choose can decide how easy the flight feels. Grab an aisle near the restroom and suddenly short walks, quick exits, and less strain all fall into place. Here's the catch, those seats go fast. By the time you check in, the best spots are often gone. That's why you need to be strategic when you book. On most planes, like the Boeing 737 or Airbus A320, bathrooms sit at the front and back, so rows nearby are prime real estate. Use Aerolopa.com to see a detailed seat map of your plane, complete with restroom locations. It's basically Google Maps for airplane seats. And please, skip the middle seat. One senior shared that on a Houston-London flight, he kept having to wake his seatmates whenever nature called, and it left him more drained than when he boarded. A window seat isn't much easier. The wall can get cold, and you'll still be boxed in when you need to move. For most seniors, the aisle is the seat that makes life simpler. Yes, airlines like Delta or American may charge $10-50 for an aisle near the front, but think of it as paying for mobility and peace on the journey, not just a seat. Don't roll the dice with random. Choose smart, move easier, and land calmer. And if you've ever had a seat nightmare, share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear how bad or funny it got. Picture this. You're mid-flight to Europe, the cabin lights are dim, and your watch buzzes. It's time for your blood pressure pill. Then the panic hits. The bottle's in your checked bag, somewhere in the cargo hold. 6 more hours to go, and the smooth journey you planned just turned into hours of worry. Why does this matter so much? Dry cabin air dehydrates you. Time zones mess with schedules, and missing even one dose for blood pressure, diabetes, or heart disease can have real consequences. Not to mention the headache of sitting there counting the hours. But it doesn't have to play out that way. I saw a traveler share in a video how he packed every dose in a small pouch in his carry-on, complete with a doctor's note and a list of medications. His flight was delayed 5 hours, and while everyone else groaned, he calmly stayed on track. No scramble, no wasted time, no tension, just a trip that ran exactly as planned. Then, how do you stay one step ahead? Keep your pills in your carry-on, unless you want to play hide and seek with your luggage. Label everything clearly. Carry a few extra days' supply, and back it up with a printed list or digital scan. And here's a smart twist. Install a reminder app like MediSafe. Or even use your phone's clock to nudge you at the right time, adjusted to your new time zone. No more second guessing if you took your pill or not. You'll land confident, knowing your health is locked in, your time is saved, and your trip is unstoppable. According to AARP, a 68-year-old woman at Atlanta Airport tried lifting a 25-pound carry-on into the overhead bin. The result? A shoulder injury that followed her the entire trip. It's proof that heavy luggage doesn't just slow you down, it can derail the whole journey. Extra weight means more muscle strain, higher fall risk in crowded terminals, and extra trouble every time security makes you lift and unpack again. The smarter move is to keep it simple. A 20 to 22-inch four-wheel spinner can handle your clothes, while a small backpack or shoulder bag covers the essentials. Medications, documents, snacks. Everything else can ride in checked luggage. So what does a minimalist packing list for a week actually look like? 3 tops, 2 bottoms, 1 sweater, 1 pair of shoes, and travel-sized toiletries. Rotate a few tops and you're set. Most domestic trips don't need more, and anything missing can be picked up once you land. A quick test. Lift your packed bag at home. If it feels awkward in your hallway, imagine doing it with a line of passengers behind you and a flight attendant urging you on. That's your signal to cut back. Travel light, and the payoff is huge. Fewer risks, smoother movement, and energy saved for the moments that matter. And if you think packing light is the end of the story, hack number 7 will show you how to bring a piece of home on board, even at 30,000 feet. This is the one I promised from the very start, hack number 6. And it's the little trick that makes economy feel less like survival and more like travel. You sink into your seat, the lights fade, and then the cold creeps in. The armrest digs into your ribs, your head keeps bobbing forward, and suddenly that overnight flight feels endless. For older travelers, what seems like just discomfort can snowball into days of stiffness once you land. So how do you fight back? Start with the pillow. Those giant U-shaped cushions dangling in every airport shop? Mostly gimmicks. A memory foam pillow that snaps under your chin keeps your head upright so you don't jolt awake every time it tilts. Want something lighter? Inflatable models save space, but only if they've got real side panels. Otherwise, your neck will hate you by hour 2. Now for the blanket. Don't settle for the airline's mystery fabric special. A compact microfiber or down blanket is warmer, packs small, and you know it's clean. Some even zip into a pouch that doubles as a pillow, a neat 2-in-1 trick that saves bag space. I once heard from a woman in her 70s who flew New York to Paris. She packed her own pillow and blanket kit, curled up after takeoff, and slept straight through the Atlantic crossing. While her rowmates complained about freezing air vents and sore necks, she woke up rested enough to walk the city the same afternoon. No crash nap, no groggy first day. That's the real win here. 2 small items that turn a brutal red-eye into a flight you barely remember. So tell me, What's the one comfort item you always pack for long flights? Share it in the comments. We might just build the ultimate traveler's toolkit together. And don't go anywhere, because next is a small move at airport security that can save you time, energy, and maybe even your patience. At the checkpoint, the lines all look the same until you know the secret. Behavioral studies show that about 85% of people are right-handed, and most instinctively veer right when given a choice. That tiny bias means right-hand lanes often build up while the left side flows faster. For seniors, that choice matters. A slower lane means more time standing, more fatigue, and more stress while juggling shoes, laptops, and daily medications. But step left, and you could save 5 to 15 minutes if the crowd is lighter. Extra time you'd rather spend sitting calmly at your gate. Frequent flyer surveys back this up. Travelers who consciously choose the left lane often report shorter waits, especially at peak hours. It's not a guarantee, but the odds tilt in your favor when you break from the herd. Then, when you reach TSA, take a breath, scan the options, and resist the pull to the right. The lane that feels less obvious might just be your quiet shortcut to a calmer start. The plane touches down, the seatbelt sign dings off, and instead of relief, a new worry kicks in. The screen says your next gate is in another concourse, and the connection clock is already shrinking. What feels like a brisk 15-minute walk for some can feel like a full-blown sprint when you're hauling a bag at 70 plus. For many older flyers, missing a single announcement flips the script. One moment you're coasting toward your connection, the next you're drained by crackling loudspeakers, tiny departure boards, and endless walks across terminals. That's where FlightAware and Flight Radar 24 change the game. They push real-time alerts for delays, gate swaps, and even show your plane's position in the sky. According to a 2023 Skyscanner survey, 35% of travelers felt noticeably calmer when using flight tracking apps. More than information, they give you control and confidence. And the best part? Once it's set up, the app works silently in your pocket. Instead of constantly checking boards or straining for announcements, you can finally relax, knowing the update will find you first. Don't let your next trip spiral into chaos. Install a tracker now, travel with ease, and keep your focus on the journey itself. Which app do you swear by when flying? Tell me in the comments. I'm curious. You've just landed and the announcement hits. Your next flight is boarding in another concourse. At airports like Atlanta or O'Hare, that can mean a mile-long hike with the clock already against you. Here's the trap. Airlines often sell 45-minute connections as if they're safe. They're not. One small delay, a restroom stop, or a second security check, and your connection turns into a missed flight. The safer strategy? Build in breathing room. A 2 or 3 hour layover isn't wasted time. It's insurance. That cushion lets you grab a real meal, take medication on schedule, or simply sit down and breathe. According to AARP, seniors who plan longer connections consistently describe their trips as calmer and easier. Those extra hours can be the difference between sprinting red-faced through the terminal or strolling to your gate relaxed, knowing your flight will still be there. Don't gamble on razor-thin connections. Pad your schedule now, or risk watching your plane taxi away without you. Have you ever padded a layover to save yourself? Share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear. Arriving at a foreign airport after a long flight. The loudspeaker crackles, signs flip, and people rush off in every direction. If your hearing isn't sharp or your eyes struggle with tiny print, that single moment of confusion can feel overwhelming. At that moment, language gaps don't just cause delays, they can drain confidence before the journey even continues. Yet hidden help is already built into many airports. Here's the twist. It's rarely obvious unless you ask. Frankfurt and Singapore Changi maintain multilingual information desks in their main halls. At gates, airline staff often switch languages with a simple prompt and can explain your next step using nothing more than a boarding pass. Technology adds another lifeline. Apps like Google Translate and iTranslate can scan signs or translate short exchanges with staff. A 2023 Skyscanner survey found that 35% of passengers felt calmer when using translation tools abroad. While not perfect, they transform hesitation into clarity in seconds. Flyer Talk recounts how an older passenger at Paris Charles de Gaulle's Terminal 2E became disoriented trying to reach the TGV station. The information desk staff immediately changed to English, handed him a printed map, and guided him toward the train. To double-check signs on the way, he used Google Translate, arriving steady and composed instead of flustered. You see? With the right mix of staff assistance and smart apps, even the busiest airports can feel clear, manageable, and reassuring. Airports are stressful for everyone, but for travelers with serious health conditions, they can feel impossible. Long walks, endless lines, and the constant worry about emergencies mid-air add up fast. TSA Cares offers basic help, but when safety is a real concern, there's a higher-level option: hiring a professional flight nurse. Companies like Flying Angels and Sky Nurses provide licensed nurses trained in aviation medicine to accompany passengers on regular commercial flights. They handle prescriptions, coordinate with airlines for wheelchair service or priority boarding, and monitor your health throughout the journey. If something happens in the air, they're ready to act immediately. The cost is significant, typically $7,000 to $10,000 plus airfare. That makes it unsuitable for budget-conscious travelers. But for those with high medical needs, it's still far less than the tens of thousands a private air ambulance would cost. Families who've used the service say it gave them reassurance, like having a safety net at 35,000 feet. For the right passenger, this service transforms flying from a gamble into a trip you can approach with confidence. So the focus stays on where you're going, not the risks along the way. Airports may never get easier on their own, but you don't have to play by their rules. Every hack here puts the control back in your hands. Which one spoke to you most? Or maybe you've got a trick I didn't cover? Share it in the comments, and let's build a list no airline would ever publish. If this helped you, tap like, send it to someone who's flying soon, and subscribe for the next round of Insider Travel Secrets. Because your next trip deserves to feel simple, safe, and yours.